So, welcome to the first interview on Unplugged with Emma. And today I'm so pleased to introduce my first guest, Tony Hancock, aka SAXL Rose. Welcome.
Uh,
Thank you so much for being here.
nah, thanks. The first interview, that's crazy. Number one.
For those that don't know, obviously I've seen you over the past few years, known who you are for a little bit now. But for those that don't know, if you could just give background on yourself, like what you do, where you're from, all that kind of stuff.
Right. Well, like you said, my name is Tony, better known on the internet as Saxel Rose, and I'm from Havre Grace, Maryland. I was born in Baltimore in Turner Station, in like the Dundalk area. But yeah, pretty much my time was split between there and Havre Grace most of my life. Went to school here and everything. Studied music in school and outside of school, was playing a lot of gigs in middle school, high school, and stuff like that. And just continued on with it. And now I pretty much have made somewhat of a career out of like doing videos, covering songs, and then somehow finessing my way on stage with most of the people that I do covers of. And some of those people have been Paramore, Wiz Khalifa, uh, Bobby V, just a bunch of artists, Neck Deep, State Champs, Stand Atlantic, The Used, Beartooth. The list goes on. I've gotten an opportunity to play with a lot of people, which is really, really sick. So yeah, just doing content online, keeping it consistent, and just making a whole lot of music. That's really all I care about. So yeah.
And I know I've read you got involved with music at a pretty young age, and a lot of that
Mm-hmm.
was because of your family.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk to me a little bit about that, how they influenced you, what your inspirations were growing up, and how you got into what you do now?
Definitely, yeah. My mom was a DJ in like a local club bar in the town that we live in now, and she was DJing like the old school way with like CDs and actually like mixing and shit like that. So she was doing that. My dad was in a band, still is in a band. Like we played together in a bunch of different groups, and but during my growing up, like he was on the road all the time, like doing residencies at different clubs and big hotels, casinos, and stuff like that. So he was on the road a lot. Him and his band. My godfather is also in that band, and he played guitar for Teddy Pendergrass. If you don't know who that
Oh,
is,
wow.
definitely
No
look it
idea.
up.
That's amazing.
Hell yeah, yeah, classic R&B artist right there. And he plays with like a lot of people as well. So I think just like growing up and seeing like I think it's one thing, like I know people who grow up and like you hear about people who play music, and you hear about like getting the opportunities to play with certain people or certain stages or arenas or whatever the case is. But then it's another thing when like you see it firsthand. So I think the difference is between me and maybe like other people like in my demographic, it's just like I knew what was possible from like an early age. So it was like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I knew at the least I could do what my dad was doing. And he always made me feel like, and my mom always made me feel like you could do that and more, you know what I mean? Whatever you wanted. And then seeing people like my godfather getting opportunities that he had, I'm like, oh, this isn't like too far out of reach. Like it's possible,
Hmm.
because if they can do it and they're born in the same place that I am, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
get the same opportunity and they look like me, then I could probably do it too. So I think just having that influence from a young age taught me a lesson of like, yo, if I just work, like I could probably do it. So and my mom being the DJ that she was, like I had like the influence of everything my dad was playing me. So like, Earth, Wind and Fire, Kool and the Gang, Temptations and stuff that
Hmm.
they were playing. And then she gave me CDs of everyone from like Tupac to Notorious B.I.G. to like all the 90s alternative stuff like Third Eye Blind and
Oh
Limp
my
Bizkit. Like
gosh.
she gave me all those CDs at one time. So I remember, just because that's, in the 90s, like that's what was hot. It was like you had
Yeah.
everything from rap to rock. So I had like that influence from my dad, and then a bunch of CDs of like everything that I just dove into. So
And you show that a lot. Like, obviously, I see all your covers on Instagram, everything like that. And you show
oh,
that range a lot, which is really awesome to
yeah.
see in the covers that you do post. Um, Speaking of those, when you got into those, what was your intention when you started posting those covers? Like, did you go in hoping that the artists that you post were going to see them? Was it just an outlet for you to kind of show what you're capable of as an artist? Like, what was your
Right.
initial intention with that?
Yeah, I think like initially when I started doing it, I really wasn't thinking about the artist seeing it at all, to be honest. And like, I'd be lying if I said once things start picking up, obviously here and there, I don't think about like, damn, it'd really be cool if they saw it. But at
Yeah.
first, at first it was literally just like, yo, like I played a sax, and at the time, like I was playing in like a metal band, so a lot of people knew me as like playing guitar in that band. But a lot of the people that I had met, like, I made friends with a lot of other local bands and even other big bands like Miss May I and a bunch of other people. Like they knew me as that person, but they didn't know that was like second to me. I was playing the sax my whole life before I ever really started playing guitar. So the band that I was in, we went to record an album in the studio, and just in regular conversation, my producer was like, "Oh, like such and such told me you play sax," and I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "I'm working on like a pop album. Like you should lay some sax down on this." And I was like, it just hit me all at once. I was like, I do play the sax, like, but I never really thought about incorporating it into like what I was doing at the time because I was so focused on the band thing. But I
Yeah.
was like, oh yeah, like I could fucking. He just found out I played the sax. I just assumed everyone knows because everyone I know knows I play the sax. But then I was like,
Mhm.
there's a whole world out there of people who have no idea. So initially, when I started, like after I recorded that, I remember just being like, yo, I should increase some awareness about myself. The fact that I can play the sax to people that follow me on the internet just for the band thing, and just let them know, like, you also play sax. And the best way to do that was for me, I was like, I just want to jam over shit that I know people in my like age group and stuff like that like, and the stuff that I like. So
Mhm.
that's why I just like start covering like Paramore and Neck Deep and stuff like that because that's what I listen to. So I was like,
Yeah.
what I mean? Those old jazz songs are great, like trust me, but they've been played a billion times. Like no one's really ever played a lot of the songs that I've played. You know what I mean? So
Mhm. Where did SAXL Rose come from? Where did the name come from? Because that's what I've known you as since I met you the first time a few years ago. But
right.
where I've never heard, where did it come from?
Yeah, it's weird. Like Saxo Rose was never meant to be my like name or anything like that. It was I was on Twitter, like me and my friends were just being stupid and like just changing our Twitter names every other day to whatever we could think of, like
Mhm.
random stuff. And actually, I have a list in my phone of all my previous Twitter names. So, like everyone knows I'm like a huge Wiz Khalifa fan. He has a song called "The Kid Frankie," which is like one of my favorite songs. So I was the Kid Frankie on Twitter for like 2 years. I was Ice Tray right before I became Saxo Rose. I randomly changed my Twitter name to Ice Tray. So like if I would have still been Ice Tray when that first Paramore video popped off, like I would have been known as Ice Tray, I suppose. But
Oh my
um
gosh.
so I had like I'm telling you, like every few days I was just changing into something stupid. But Saxo Rose came about because I right around that time when I was like, oh, I should start recording videos and play the sax more.
Mhm.
Um I fell into this thing of like, oh, I should just change my Twitter name to a bunch of sax puns because that would be like funny. So there was a movie called Max Keeble's Big Move, and I changed my name to Sax Keeble because like Max Keeble, Sax Keeble, like
Mhm.
it was like a play on words. So I was just in this thing of like just doing random like sax plays on words, and I remember I was talking to my boy, and I was like, "Yo, I got to change my Twitter name. I don't think Sax Keeble is it. Like, you know what I mean? I need to find something cooler." And I just like went on my phone and I just typed in like axe, like rhymes and stuff like that, and I was just going down the list, and it was like an axe, like an actual axe, and then all these other like axe words, and there was one that was like Axel, and I was like, oh yeah, Saxel would be sick, and then
Mhm.
I was like, yo, fucking Axel Rose, like from Guns N' Roses,
Guns
Saxel
N'
Rose
Roses, yeah.
yeah, it would be sick. And it's not like I'm necessarily like a huge Guns N' Roses fan. They're dope. Like, but I just thought the play on words was just funny enough for like the time being for me to post. I didn't say like, yo, this is who I am now. Like, boom. It was just like, yo, this would be funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
and it stuck
um,
from there.
yeah, it just stuck. So when I did that Ain't a Fun Paramore video and like it went viral, she saw it, like Haley saw, shared it, and it just started going crazy. Everyone in the comments was like, "Yo, Saxo Rose, Saxo Rose," and then AP, and Rock Sound, like all the music blogs picked it up, and obviously, like no one knew my real name, so they were just like, "Saxophone player Saxo Rose, like gets Haley Williams' attention, this, that, and the third." So from there, it was just like, I guess this is who I am now. So
Yeah. No, that's
just like
awesome.
just kept it rolling. Like the it just kind of speaks for itself. Like Saxo Rose, I play the sax. You know what I mean? That's it.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And
Oh, yeah.
just getting into some of the specifics a little bit more, like I know I've personally seen you play with Stand
Mm,
Atlantic like 3 years ago at Sad Summer with state champs, all that kind of
yeah.
stuff. How were you able to form those connections? And what's been your favorite experience that you've had while playing with them?
Damn, yeah. I mean, it's weird. Every time like I play with a band, I feel like it's gone the same way where like a band will either a release a new song or just they'll have a song that I've been jamming and people will either tell me like, yo, we want to hear this band, like you play over this band, or I'm just like, I like this band, I feel like playing this today. And
Mhm.
I try to keep it that simple. The times where I feel like the few times where I feel like I've been like, oh, I bet you if I cover this song, they'll see it. Like I don't know. It's not even with bands, just in general. I've been like not happy with it because I feel like I'm forcing it. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's
Mhm.
just a mental thing or that's actually how it is. So I really try to keep it as genuine as possible. It's like if I just wake up today and a song is stuck in my head, I'll cover that song and just keep it that simple. So with State
Mhm.
Champs, it was the same way. Like my favorite song by them was off of the first album that they did. God damn, what was that song? Damn, it's my favorite song. I can't remember the name. I don't know. Either way, it was off. It was off the Finer Things, and I woke up and it was stuck in my head. So like I covered the song, and I think because of my relationship with Neck Deep had already kind of formed by then. We had already played together
Mhm.
a handful of times, and obviously they have like a cool relationship. I think it was just like I think people were almost just waiting on it. Like I remember seeing comments like, "Yo, we want to hear you cover State Champs now," because those are like the two bands, like Neck Deep, State Champs. Like
Yeah.
they've gone on tour together. People love them. It's just like it made sense. So I think I remember by the time I even went to cover State Champs, like I had already been following a couple of the members in the band. And they had already kind of hit me up and they were like, "Yo, we're waiting on it." You know what I mean? Like come with
Mhm.
it. So I think by that time it was already kind of like they knew it was going to be a thing. And I think I dropped the cover and then they did like that 5 year Finer Things
Yeah,
anniversary
yeah.
show.
Mhm.
And they were like, yo, like if you're in Jersey for whatever reason, like you should come out. And I was like, hell yeah. So I played that. And from there, that's just how it goes. Like same thing with Stan Atlantic. Like they're one of my favorite bands, like period. And I just covered one of their songs because I'm like, yo, I love this fucking band. And I want
They're
everyone else.
awesome.
They're awesome. Like, and they're just cool. Like they're just good people. Like they're hilarious and they're really, really just cool. And I feel like my original plan with my Instagram is I kind of want my Instagram to be like my playlist. So you know what I'm listening to
Huh.
like day in, day out, because that's whatever I'm covering is like usually what I'm listening to. So that's why like I don't always do like huge songs. Like I know a lot of people who cover songs and they'll do whatever the popping song at the moment is. And that's great. Like that's amazing. I've done that too. But I try to keep it like yo, if I drop this cover, it's because I'm listening to it at the time, and you should listen to it too. Big or small artists, like if I'm dropping a Stan Atlantic song, it's because I'm listening to that song, and I want you to listen
Mhm.
to it too. Like listen to my video, yeah, but then go listen to the song. So
Yeah.
I think like through that, it's just I think because people can see that it's genuine. You know what I mean? I don't want anything from any of these bands, like or any of these artists. Like if they invite me to play with them, cool. But I don't want anything from them. I just like want them to know that I think they're dope. That's it. Like
Yeah. That's awesome. Like
yeah.
I saw the little mashup of like all the different Australian artists that you did and I saw
Mm-mm.
Between You
That
and
was
Me in
fun.
there and they're one of my favorites. So I
Yeah.
was like, "Whoa." Like I had
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. It's the same with them. Like they're a really dope band. I feel like their last record was actually like the newest one they put out was like really, really dope.
Yeah, it was
And
awesome.
it's sick. And I don't know. I feel like it's getting slept on because I even slept on it. When they released it, I was like, cool, I'll listen to it. I'll get around to it. And I think I like waited like a couple weeks and then I actually listened to it and I was like, yo, this is good. Like this is
It's
really
so
good.
good.
It's
Yeah.
good. So,
Awesome.
yeah, they're a dope band. But yeah, it's been the same. I feel like with every band, I just drop a cover and then they'll end up being like, yo, we're playing around. Sometimes I'll plan it. I'm not gonna lie. Like I've definitely planned it that way before too, where I'm like, oh, like Intervals is coming here next week. I love that band. And let me drop this cover real quick. And then all of a sudden it's like, boom, come play with us. Oh, you're gonna be in town tomorrow? Cool. Like, you know what I mean?
That's
Like
crazy.
I've definitely done that. Like I can't lie, but it's just because I love these bands, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And along the same lines, like obviously, like you've said, you've had the opportunity to play with Wiz Khalifa, Chris Brown, Paramore, Bobby V, like some
Mm,
different artists too. What's the biggest thing
mm.
you've learned from that and working with them?
Damn, I've learned a lot. And I think it's consistent, especially with like with Wiz. Like I remember when I was in the studio with him for a while, like for like every day. During the pandemic, I flew out there and we were in the studio like every single night. And I remember there was one point where he tapped me and he was like, "Yo, hop on the song." And I was like, "This one?" Like, because usually when people hit me up for the sax stuff, it's always the smooth songs. Because obviously,
Hmm.
sax
Yeah.
smooth like. But this one was like a more like hard hitting song. And I didn't, when I heard the song, I was like, oh, this will be dope. But I don't think I'm gonna play sax on it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But he tapped me and he was like, yo, get in there and lay something down on this. And I was like, on this one? And he was like, yeah, trust me, go ahead. And I was like, all right. I go in the studio, I lay it down, I come back out, and he's like got the headphones on and he's with the engineer. And he's like, all right, move this, put a filter on this, boom. Like he's just like, he's doing shit, he's talking, he's like, all right, play it back. All right. And it takes like 5 minutes. And then he like looks at me with the headphones and he's just like, yeah. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And he took the headphones off. He's like, yo, play that shit. And it sounded like it was like still my sax, but it's the whole, it made so much sense. And he came up to me and I was like, bro, this makes so much sense. And he was like, yeah, I know you didn't hear it, but like I could hear it right away. I feel like people always put you
Mhm.
on the smooth shit. So that right there taught me, and in general, he taught me to like sometimes you can have your ear almost like so trained that you skip over, like you can overlook like certain things. So it's like I'm in the mindset of like, okay, sax smooth, boom, and I'll just specifically listen to that. Where he had his ear set on, yo, whatever is dope, like period. You know what I mean? Like if the
Yeah.
sax works on this song, then great. And there was like a couple of the little times where I'd like ask him like, yo, what do you want on this? And he'd be like, yo, I could tell you, but it's like I feel like if I tell you, it's about what I want. You're here because you're dope, and I want you to do your thing on my music. So if I tell you what to do, it's not really you doing your thing anymore.
Yeah.
You're here because I want you to be here. So I think he just, and Bobby's the same way. Everyone just wants me to do me. Like I feel like they've seen my videos and they know what I'm capable of. So it's like if I get the point to either go on stage with them or go in the studio with them, they want me to just do what they love about me. You know what I mean? Don't think about it so much. Just do whatever's dope. So I think that's the biggest thing I've learned is just like don't think so hard sometimes, and like because you always want it to be perfect, but just be dope. Like just do dope shit. Like
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
This is a question I always love learning more about. Like when you're recording or producing, whether it's your own music or a feature that you're doing for someone else's track, like what is your
Mm.
creative process? And are there any key elements of that that like you can't skip over or work without?
That's a great question. So I mean, it usually if I'm recording a feature is from like right here because I do like a lot of remote recording like in my own studio.
Mhm.
Sometimes I'll be at their studio or go to like another studio if they specifically want that. But I think like the key for me is the mindset. Because there have been times where I like have to record something, and if I put that additional pressure on myself, it usually doesn't come out like I want to. There's like a point. It happens the same almost every time. Any feature that you've heard I do, I'll send like the first take over, and just to get it out the way, like just to be like, okay, cool, I laid something down, bet. And
Mhm.
usually they'll love it, but then I'll either hit them back or they'll either hit me back, and I'm like, nah. It's always for me. It's always take two. So I feel like part of my process is I need to like just fucking just throw everything at the wall first. I need to just get all the
Okay.
shit ideas and all the good ideas out on the first take, and just be like,
Mhm.
just throw paint at the wall, and then from there I can like refine. So it's always the second take of what people hear from me. So I think like having a good clear mindset, having my room clean. If my room's not clean, I can't like record. Like that's
Yeah.
another thing. If I feel like shit's everywhere, I'm like, I can't do this. So yeah,
Yeah.
mindset, clean room, like having everything organized, and then just having that freedom to be able to throw paint at a wall and just being like, cool, this is great. I'll keep this, take this out, and then re-record. So that's pretty much like my process.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
Interesting. As an independent artist, you've obviously
Mm.
been doing amazing and you're just like
Oh,
continuing
thank
to
you.
move up and up and up. What
I'm
advice would you
trying.
give to someone starting out as an independent artist in the industry?
I anytime someone asks me this, I'd say the same thing every time. Like, and it's a key that I use for myself, like coming up too, that someone else told me, and it's like I went to a music conference one time, and people would stand up and ask these questions to all these music professionals, and one person in general who I actually like interned for a little bit. His name is Mike Mary. He ran Outer Loop management. Um, he was like one of my mentors, you know what I mean, for a little bit. And I remember someone asked him that question, and he stood up and he was like, yo, like, does everyone that you know what you do? Like everyone that you know. And dude was like, yeah, I mean, I think so. And he was like, and does everyone that they know what you do? You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
there's like there's a chain. So it's like the first thing I always tell people was like, does everyone in your surrounding community, like everyone in your town, if they saw you, would they know like that's him and that's what he does? And if your answer is no, then you need to start there. You need to do
Mm.
whatever it is, whether it's make videos or play live or whatever it is. You need to do everything you can to get everyone in your town to recognize you and to know what you do immediately. Whether they hate it or love it, they just need to know.
Mm.
And then from there, you need to make sure that everyone that they know in the surrounding areas know. So however you plan on doing that, if that's, you making a video every day and covering, if you live in Nashville and a lot of people were listening to country shit, then get off your ass and start covering all the country shit you can. If it's, mostly R&B stuff, and do that. Whatever it is, it can be anything. It doesn't even have to be music. It just needs to be creating like overall awareness. So that would be my first thing. Definitely like create awareness. Record yourself is also been the key for me. And I feel that's been my biggest teacher. And the great thing about the internet, which is like you can get immediate feedback, which can be bad at times, but obviously, for the most part,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like you can get immediate feedback on what it is that you're doing. So I can drop an Ain't It Fun video in 2017 and be like, oh, cool, people like this and they like Paramore. So I should continue to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or I can drop another song that maybe people don't like and be like, all right, that did okay. So I can circle and come back to that another time and focus on this.
Mm.
And just being able to record myself and you ever hear yourself talk in like a video and you're like, oh, that's what I sound like.
All
You
the
know what I mean?
time. All the
And
time.
it sucks. So it's the same thing with music where it's like sometimes you can get so used to playing and just doing it that you don't actually audibly hear yourself. So there have been times where I'm like, I'm killing shit. And then I listen back to the video and I'm like, that's not what I thought I was doing. You know what I mean? Like that wasn't it. So
Mhm.
having that like you can watch, like it's almost like watching game tape. I can look at past videos and be like, that I did good, but that was shit. Like I should not do that again and try to like
Yeah.
and try to fix that. So yeah, just recording yourself to me has been like the biggest key. I can like really, really hammer into those little details and be like, oh, I didn't even know I was doing that. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
that's my biggest advice. Like spread awareness, record yourself, and don't be afraid of like constructive criticism, which obviously is difficult at times, but it's got to be
Yeah,
done.
for sure.
Yeah.
And just going off of that, what is the best piece of advice that another musician has ever given you? And how have you applied that to your life or your career?
Damn, I feel like I've gotten so much good advice from other musicians. Like, and I think that's key too. Like having a mentor is really. I almost tweeted this the other day, but my Twitter is like I can't post videos anymore because Twitter sucks.
Yeah.
So like they deleted my account for like months and months at a time before. So they pretty much were like, "Yo, you don't post any more videos, or else
Oh
like
my
we'll delete it."
God.
So that's why I haven't really been on Twitter like that. Cause and so
Got you.
every time I go to tweet something now, I'm just like I go to tweet it and then I'm like, does anyone really care about what I'm thinking right now? Like, so I just don't really get on Twitter that much. But I meant to tweet this the other day. Like having a mentor is such a key to success. Like there's so many people, like musicians and just people in general, that I could call at any time and be like, yo, I need some advice on this. And they'll give it to me. And I feel like that's such like a lost key to success. Like I have so many people that hold those positions for different reasons. Like my dad is definitely one of my mentors. My godfather Wawa is such like a mentor to me. The saxophone player Kim Waters is a mentor to me. Like I said, when I was interning for Outer Loop, Mike was like one of those people. I was like, he's a businessman and he had an ear for certain things. I looked up to that. And there's like a shit ton of other people that I look up to in that. But the best piece of advice, um, well, I'll tell you this. I don't know. This might not be the best, but it's helped me a lot. And I think about it all the time. Evan from State Champs, drummer,
Hmm.
uh, I flew out to Alabama for our friend Chris Miller, who does all the front of house and sound for State Champs, Neck Deep, like hella people.
Oh,
And he's an insane musician as well. He was getting married, and he flew me out to play the sax during his like ceremony. And after that, everyone's dancing during the thing. Everyone's having a good time. Everyone's got a few beers in them. Like we're all just
hmm.
having. I'm having the best time because I'm still in like they're all my friends, but I'm still in that mode of like, yo, I can't even believe I'm here right now. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mhm.
I didn't grow up with these dudes, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm a fan just like everyone else is, where I'm like, I listen to the songs and then next thing you know, I'm playing with them. And next thing you know, I'm at a wedding with all of them, like having a great time. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, you know what I
That's
mean? I'm not,
awesome.
yeah, I'm never gonna get to that point where I'm like bigger than like I'm always gonna be in this fan mode where I'm like, I can't even believe I'm here because I feel like anything else is just like corny as hell. But anyway, me and Evan on the dance floor, we're dancing, we're talking or whatever, and he like threw his arm around me and he was like, "Bro, you know what, man? Like, you know what's so great about you?" And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Don't get me wrong, like you're a great musician and you can play really well and like you kill everything you do." And I was like, "Oh man, I appreciate that." And he was like, "But the best thing about you is that you're a great hang." And that's like such a big deal for me and for a lot of other people. And I was like, "For real?" And he was like, "Yeah, because I know a lot of people who are like great musicians and who can play the shit out of everything, but I don't personally enjoy being around them that much or spending long periods of
Mm.
time with them." He was like, "So when you meet someone who is really good, but also you can stand being around or you enjoy having around, it like makes it, it's like you'd want to have them around whether they were playing or not. So the fact that they can play just makes it better. So in your case, it's like, you know, we if you were still the same musician you were, but you sucked to be around, we probably wouldn't have you around because it's like, or even if we were in your town, it'd be like, yeah, come by, whatever." But he's like, the fact that, you know, you can play and you're a great hang, it's like, dude, we just want to see you. And if you play, great, you know what I mean? But we like being around you. Like, never stop being a great hang. And that always like, I don't even know if he remembers that, but it always stuck with me. And it's something that I tell people all the time when they ask me, like, what's the key to being in the music industry and stuff like that. And I was like, yo, just be easy to work with. Like, just be a cool dude.
Yeah,
Don't just be cool and easy to work with because people will just like having you around. And sometimes that's all you need is just like, yo, come to this. Just come. And then you'll end up rubbing shoulders with people and getting opportunities that way. So just be cool. Like,
that's awesome, and that must have been
yeah.
amazing for you to hear, like, especially after you said you're still in that, like, fan mode even though you're with them all the
Mm-hmm.
time. That must have been awesome to hear.
Yeah, and I try not to like punish him too much, where I'm like standing around all day just telling him like how much of a fan I am. Like, I'm not doing that. But like, and
Mhm.
even with Wiz, like I've been a huge fan of Wiz from my whole life. And so to be in the studio and like just getting to record with him and seeing his reaction when I do something cool, like in person, I'm just like, yeah, bro, I appreciate you. You know what I mean? It's all good. But in my mind, I'm like, fuck, this is nuts. You know what I mean? So it's like that's how I am even with these dudes. Sometimes we get done playing and I'm just like, everyone's like, yeah, give it up for SAXL Rose. I'm like, oh yeah, I appreciate you. In my mind, I'm like, fam, I can't believe I just did that shit. Like that is crazy. Like,
And just the final question to wrap everything
mm,
up, this is, like, one of my favorite things. What
mm.
would you want someone that has never heard of you to know about you?
um, that I just genuinely love music. Like that's really all it comes down to for me. Like all the extra stuff is cool, but I feel like I'm just a dude who just genuinely loves music, like whatever it is, any song, any genre, any person. Like I don't look too deep into anything past like just the music. Like
Mhm.
that's really all I care about. And I don't, and even the extra stuff, like, you know, I know like some people will trip over stuff like how many followers you have or like none of that shit really ever like I feel like I stopped caring about views even and stuff like that a long time ago. Like I remember it
Yeah,
was like a goal of mine at one point to get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and like now I don't give a shit. Like I like, and it's not that I don't care about the people; it's that it's like the metric that I don't care about.
the
It's like
number, yeah.
I don't care about the number. I just want the people who do fuck with me, whether it's 5 people or whether it's 5,000 people or a million. Like I just want those people to know that like, yo, I love music and I like creating and I just want you to be along for the process so you can see like I'm getting better little by little like as I go. Like if you look at my videos from a year ago, I wasn't even playing keys or putting that in my videos and like that's really
Yeah.
I do that all the time now. So it's like I'm
Mhm.
just focused on the music, getting better at my craft, and just the genuine love of it. All the extras are great. Don't get me wrong. I love meeting the people and I love getting opportunities and I love all the extra stuff. But I really just enjoy having my space to create. And that's why in my bio on Instagram it says value the process. Like I'm all about just that process and being able to look back at myself from a year ago and be like, bro, I'm playing this shit so much better now. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's really all. I just want to improve as a musician. That's really all. I just want my integrity as a musician. That's really all I wanted. The extra stuff is like I don't really care about all that stuff. I want people to know me as like I want that respect from my peers is really what it comes down to. Like, yo, SAXL Rose, yeah, he's dope. Like he's dope. That's it. That's it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
this has been amazing. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Where can they find you on social media if anyone wants to check you out? Saxel
Oh
Rose
yeah, you can.
Official.
Yeah, you can. I'm Saxo Rose official on Instagram. I'm Saxo_Rose on Twitter. Everything else, I believe, is Saxo Rose official. You can just Google it; it'll come up. I got merch on Big Cartel. That you can get these shirts on. The every song needs a sax solo, and I got hoodies that say Saxo Rose my homie with a little cartoon me on the back. It's fire. Um, yeah, just look up Saxo Rose. You'll see me on there. I definitely appreciate you and everyone else for taking the time out just to show love and respect.
Of course. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate
All
you.
right.